Great day, attractive thinker and visionaries around the world. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your identity coach, and get to the root specialist at theattractivethinker.guru. I'm sure you already have visited our website. If you have not done so, run on over there and grab your freebies. But most importantly, I want to encourage you and support and celebrate attractive thinkers and visionaries who've already obtained their copy of The Attractive Thinker on Amazon. You definitely want to get your copy because we reference this a lot. And also, as a new and aspiring entrepreneur, you need these mental tools. This is the missing link to the action that you're trying to take in your life, that new thing, that transformation, whatever that might be, writing a book or launching your business idea. This is the missing link. And we talk about this a lot on our YouTube channel, Beyond the Break 2020. So click the like button if you're familiar with our messages and they resonate with you all the time. And even if you're not, when you hear this message today, it's going to resonate with you on a deeper level. And we want to encourage you to subscribe so that you don't miss another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance. Welcome, my co-host, Tichet Bradshaw.
Happy Mindset Monday, everybody. We made it. We get to make it again. Guess what? We get to do what we've never done, go where we have never gone, and have all that we deserve to have in this lifetime. It is such a great day to be alive.
It is a fantastic and amazing day to be alive. Attractive thinker, visionaries. I want to encourage you to have your attractive thinker notebook open while you're listening to this message. But I'm going to give you a pre assignment. After you hear this message, this is like one of the first things I want you to do. I want you to write down in your attractive thinker notebook that it is a great day to be alive. And I don't want you to write it just once. I want you to write it at least 5 to 10 times until you begin to connect with it. And you'll know, you might say, well, Dr. Toni, how many times do I have to write this? Until you feel a connection, until something inside of you draws all of your attention off of the distractions and you begin to hone in on the power and the truth of this statement. It is a great day to be alive. Once you connect with that, gratitude springs forth from out of nowhere. Of course, it comes from within, but this enormous amount of gratitude will spring forth from within. And when you're in gratitude, it changes everything. Whatever you were doing prior to listening to this message, it's going to change that. It's going to shift your perception concerning that. Whatever you have to do afterwards, after you hear this message, it's going to shift your perception concerning that. When you're engulfed in gratitude, you begin to see things that you haven't seen before. You begin to see the good in things. You begin to see how truly blessed you really are. You begin to see how rich you are, already are. You begin to see how beautiful and wonderful you are. You begin to see the possibilities in the right in the midst of challenges, all because you decided to step into gratitude and really fully embrace the fact that it is truly a great day to be alive. Today, we're going to be talking about the power to heal because some attractive thinkers and visionaries may be in a break, you may be coming out of a break, or you might be living your life now beyond the break. Either way, you're going to enter into a healing journey in those three spaces that I just mentioned. You're going to enter into a healing journey. And do you know it takes courage to heal? It
Mm,
takes power to heal. You have to be strong minded in order to enter into a healing journey because healing not only takes time, but it takes focus, it takes diligence, it takes commitment, it takes a desire and a will to want to see or experience who you are on the other side of healing. You have to have a burning desire to want to know who that person is, to want to get you to the state of that being, of a healed person. You have to uh, want to connect. You have to, it's a connection that has to take place. Because healing, it hurts. You would say, well, Dr. Toni, if something is healing, I mean, it already hurts from the beginning. If it's healing, why would it still hurt? When we talk about healing, mental healing, soul and spirit healing, healing from trauma, healing from brokenness, there's some choices that we have to make. And it's those choices that can hurt. The choice to let it go, the choice to walk away, the choice to leave it and start anew, the choice to shift your focus off of what happened and how it made you feel and begin to focus on what's ahead of you versus behind you. It takes power to do that. It takes power to choose the healing journey. The healing journey is not for the faint at heart. On this healing journey, you have to come face to face with yourself. It takes power to come face to face with parts of yourself that you don't like. It takes power to acknowledge that, to confront those areas about yourself that need that growth or need more attention or need correction. It takes power to embrace these parts of you. You might say, well, Dr. Toni, why would we want to go through all of that? Because you're an endless being, and all that you've experienced and have accomplished or have lived in this life up until this point, this is not the end. What if right now you sat with the fact that where I am right now, there's more? That no matter where I am right now, I could be better. I could still grow. I could go further. I could accomplish more. And accomplishing more is not just about physical accomplishments. What if you could have more love than you've settled for? What if you could have more peace than what you've settled for? What if you could have more joy than what you've settled for? What if you've put a limit on it, you've capped it off and think that because you're experiencing peace or happiness or contentment right now, that this is your paradise, that this is your destination, that this is it for you, that you've arrived? What if you're at that place and this message has presented itself to you? You found this random message to shine the light, to turn the light on for you and tap you on the shoulder and notify you that there's more, that it's going to take power to get you from this this place of contentment into another place of power in your life. It's going to take power to get you from where you are to through another growth stage and phase of healing into this other new, powerful, more impactful, more awakened version of yourself. And Tichet, I say that because in my life, when I was, going through various healing stages in my life, it took power because you have to have courage. Not too many people enter into this healing journey, and what that means is, if that's true, then most of the people you encounter in the course of a day, there's nobody there that can help you. In conversations that you enter into, you can't share what's going on your healing journey, in your healing process, with that circle, because there's no one there that can relate to that. No one there has embarked upon the healing journey that you know of, because they lack the power. They didn't even know it took power. I didn't even, before I started studying power, I didn't know what the purpose of power was. Why do I need power to heal? Why do I need power to do this or to do that? Or power to love myself, or power to choose peace over pleasing people? Why does it take power to do that? It's because we live in a world where it's common to be average. It's common to settle. It's common to live a whole existence and not really live the life that you want. It's common to not fulfill your desires. It's common to be comfortable just walking throughout life being a dreamer and not living the dream. That's common. So anything that's common, you're comfortable with it. You're used to it. It's familiar. And anything outside of that, it's going to take power to access that, because you have to break out of comfort and mediocrity. That it's not something you just simply easily slide out of or step out of. You have to break out of a comfort zone. You have to break out of mediocrity. You have to break out of the normalcy, the average, the routine, the Monday. When we think about routines and then when we think about habits to shed, we understand how deeply ingrained a habit can be and how hard it is to break it sometimes, most of the time, really. And that means that it has roots, it's fortified, it's locked in place. It's not going anywhere until you do something over and over and over again. Just the same thing you did to create that habit is the same thing you're going to have to do to break the habit. And when we talk about break, when we talk about beyond the break, you don't break something with no effort. You don't break something with ease. It takes force to break
Yes.
something. It takes power to break something. You have to use more effort and energy than you normally would as you go throughout the course of your day. If you're cooking, or if you're in your office working, or if you're going for a run, or if you're driving, the energy that you're in while you're doing the things that you're comfortable with is a different kind of energy that you have to step into when you're doing something that you've never done before. You have to sometimes, when think about, being in your backyard and you're trying to fix the fence, or you're making some wood for a box or whatever. You have to take a deep breath and inhale. What are you doing? You are giving yourself more energy than you normally would have in the course of a day, because you have to exert more energy in order to build, to dig and prepare the ground for a new garden. When you're digging and preparing the ground for a new garden, that soil is hard, it's not moist, it might have rocks in it, it has weeds in it, it might have weeds that are very thick and they're intertwined and they spiral and they go all the way down into places that you can't even humanly reach. It takes effort to uproot that. It takes effort to prepare that ground. And it's that same kind of effort and that same kind of power that it's going to take to heal. Tishat, talk to us today about the power to heal.
Come on, because you did that thing, right? So I wanted to look up the word power, but there was many descriptions for the word power, but I wanted to point one out, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says possession of the qualities, especially mental qualities, required to do something or get something done, right? And then I wanted to also look up some of the synonyms of power. So when we're saying power to heal, we're saying force to heal, authority to
Mm-hmm.
heal, energy, influence to heal, control, might, ability, capacity, potency, capability, command. There's so many dominions. There's so many um, different synonyms that if we say the power to heal, we're saying, like you said, the strength to heal, the drive to heal, the authorization to heal, the domination to heal. We're saying these things because it takes all of that in order to heal. Because, like you said, Dr. Tony, healing hurts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why healing hurts is because healing exposes. So, like you said, some of them may be asking you, why does healing hurt instead of not hurting? Well, we're getting it confused with being healed, ed, right? HEALED with HEALING, which means you're not all the way healed yet, but you are on the road in recovery to healing. When you are in recovery to healing, everything is not where it needs to be at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Things that are hurt, some open wounds that you got going on, some stuff, some tender places. There's some tenderness on you that can be easily triggered. You have a lot. that's going on. But when you are healing,
Mhm.
you have to have that authority or the will to want change, to want to heal. You have to see the desire to be better. There's some people I saw on Instagram that there was somebody who broke his arm and he never got it fixed. And you could see how the arm was like moving like in a way that just shouldn't be moving really. And
Mhm.
again, no judgment to the people who broke his arm and didn't get it fixed because people have reasons why they don't go to hospitals and things like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
His arm was never the same. He was never able to use it in its full capacity, right? So
Mm.
people have the ability to make a decision to not heal, right? And the only reason why you will make a decision to not heal is because you're not a truth seeker. You don't want to seek out the answers. You're comfortable with the pain you got going on. You're okay with just not reaching your full capacity. Some people are okay with that. But attractive thinkers, visionaries, we are not okay with
Mhm.
stagnant, stuck living, mundane lives, and routine living.
Mhm.
We are not okay with that. Even if we tried, we couldn't become okay with that. You can try to live that routine, mundane life all you want to, but there's something in your spirit that will always call you for more. And you think, why can't I just be satisfied with this? Why can't I? Because your spirit called for more, called for higher, called for ascension. So when we're saying it takes power to heal, it takes force, it takes strength to heal. You have to be up for the fight, and this is why we say we do beyond the break. Give yourself a fighting chance because
Mhm.
you have to give yourself a fighting chance in order to walk a journey of healing so that you can get to the living of healed.
Mhm.
And on the other side of healing, you have healed, you appreciate your journey of healing because of what it uncovered and the changes that it made. Like you said, Dr. Tony, when you go to that ground is hard and you got to dig up that ground and you got to take force and get that shovel and put that foot on the end of that shovel and just stick it up in there because it's not used to the work that you're putting in is not used to it, right? So you have to put a little bit of force. So we have to do that mentally as well. We have to put a little force in the breaking of the ground, right? When you're breaking ground, you're trying to change to make something fruitful, to make it where it's able to receive something powerful where you can plant something so you can reap a harvest later. Nobody wants to go through life and do everything for nothing. We don't want to go through pain for nothing. We don't want to suffer for nothing. I don't care what you say. You don't want to go through stuff and sit there and think it was all for nothing. At least I don't. I don't like to do nothing. I don't like to do nothing for nothing where my time is wasted. Like I said on previous episodes, the worst thing you can do to me is waste my time, right? But because of the power that I take over in my life, I'm not allowing in allowance with people to waste my time anymore. Because of my discernment allows me to know whether or not somebody is hungry enough to deal with whatever it is I got going on. Right? Everybody not ready for you. Also said, Dr. Tony, that you have to have the power to move or to uproot yourself because the area sometimes the area that you grew up in is not the area where you thrive,
Mhm.
right? And so you have to be willing to take all that you are, everything that you are and everything that you got going on, and allow yourself to be moved into a place where you can flourish
Mhm.
and not make any excuses for it, not be mad at it, and not judge yourself for wanting something different than what you were used to, wanting something different than what family and friends said that they wanted and that they wanted for you. You have to be willing to know yourself. Taking power is knowing yourself, right? And so when we know ourselves and we know the power, we can get the work done, right? When the more that you connect with your inner self, the more you can get the work done. Another thing, Dr. Tony, that you were talking about, when you said the power to know yourself, I thought about that's when I started thinking about the synonyms of power. But I said, what does it take to have? the power to move, the power to change, the power to heal. What does it take? It's going to take faith. You knowing that there's more out there than what you have experienced, right? It takes more to know. It takes you to know that there's more than what you have experienced, right? It takes faith. It takes you to believe in something greater than yourself. It takes power so that you can get an energy that is
Mm.
stronger than your normal
Yeah.
standard level of energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? It takes desire. You have a desire. See, some of us, we suppress our desires because it don't fit a normal narrative when those desires were given to you, because in the healed state of you, where your higher self is already enjoying the power. It's already enjoying the more, enjoying the outcome of that desire. So those desires come to you so that you can pursue, right? And we have to discern, because every desire is not a good desire, but there's some desires that come from power, and you got to learn the difference, right? Because sometimes we can desire something and then we end up in a life that was not what we wanted it to be. So we have to have that discernment to make sure that when we're going after certain desires, that it matches the higher self. It matches the spirit man, right? And so when we say take your power back, we're saying take your authority back. Take back your dominion. Take back your strength. Take it all back so that you can move everything that's in the way out of the way, so you can move mountains, so that you can live a life of healed after you get through the healing. And then, like you said, Dr. Tony, it takes courage to heal, right? It takes courage for healing, because you got to be willing to face yourself. You got to be willing to look yourself in the face, all of your mistakes, all of your hurts, all of your gifts, your talents, your powers, the things you wanted to accomplish, the things you didn't get a chance to accomplish, the things you desire, the things you that you didn't desire that you have. You gotta face all of that. And it's like open wounds. It's like going somewhere and you fall off a motorcycle and you got a wound on your leg that was covered by pants.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the hospital, they gotta pull, sometimes cut them pants off to
Mm-hmm.
expose what's going on. And then, like we talk about in many different shows, they apply the antiseptic. Sometimes that antiseptic is gonna burn,
Mm-hmm.
but it's necessary for your cleanliness. It's necessary for your healing, that antiseptic. So we're saying that there was some parts in your life that burned, but it was necessary for you to, for the furtherance of your power, for the furtherance of your purpose, right? So there was some situations you didn't call for that burned, but it was necessary to clean out the old limited way of thinking, the old way of being, where you tried to fit into a narrative that you know just wasn't it. And it's like it causes misery when you're not on your proper path. It causes misery. You end up creating more misery than you are healing. So you got to be willing and to face yourself, but you got to have the courage, the faith, and the desire to do so in order for you get to the place of heal. The power to heal takes courage, right? And so you have to be willing to give the energy that it takes to do so. And one of the things I wanted to bring to the light was when you're on the healing journey, and the reason why I hurt is because it's exposed. You gotta look at the inner story. We all have a purpose. We all have a story. You gotta look at the inner story as a whole, right? And so when you are healing, that inner story is gonna have to change. That inner story, the story you used to say about yourself, now you got to say something different. You say, that they say I was lost, but now I'm found. You got to say I'm found. Now I'm found, because we got to drop the lost,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because remember, we only go back for the lessons and the blessings. We only look in the past,
Mm-hmm.
like in a rearview mirror. We look in the past for the lesson and the blessing. We do not focus on the past when we're trying to move forward. We treat the past like if you're in a car and you're on a journey to go forward, and you're looking out of the window to go forward to see where you are going, right? And wherever you focus, that's where your car is going to go. That's where your vehicle, your human Your human body is your vehicle. That's where it's gonna go. So what you focus on, that's where you are steering your human experience, right? And so when we gotta look at the past, we're looking so that we can be mindful. We're looking like in the rearview mirror to make sure that we are aware of our surroundings. When you're driving in a car, you gotta use your peripheral vision,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't sit there and just focus on
Mm-hmm.
what you're seeing in your peripheral vision. You gotta keep your eyes on the road of healing. But what do you keep your eyes on? The healed version of you, the greater story of you. You got to keep your eyes on the journey and the purpose because there's all kinds of things that's going to happen around you. For instance, you might be driving down the road and you see an accident to the left of you or to the right of you, or you see, police and ambulances going on and accident. That might not be for your story, so you don't accept that as your story, right? You do not. One of the things when you are on a healing journey that you have to know is you cannot carry the whole world's problem on your shoulders. You cannot take on the problems of the entire world. That will restrict the healing for real,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the more you inflict yourself with more pain, even if it's not yours, the harder it is to heal. If you keep walking on a foot that is broken, how will it heal if you don't give it the time, the chance to get silent and allow it to be isolated and elevated in order for it to heal, right? So you can't take the world's problems on your shoulders. Yes, there are all kinds of people that's going through stuff and things are happening. That does not mean that's for your role. Now, here's the thing. As an empath, we take on other people's energy. We feel for everybody. We want to help everybody, but you got to be careful with that because you want to help, but not to an extent to be a crutch, and you don't want to take on other people's energies as your own because it's possible to do that. Some people are sitting in depression and it's not even their depression, but they don't know that because they don't know they're an empath. They don't know that that energy that you feel is not theirs. They don't know that they're sitting in depression because they have been living a fraudulent life and don't know it because somebody else said that this is what they should be, right? So we're only encouraging you to get to know yourself, to give yourself a fighting chance, to have the courage and the power to go out there and change and build your inner story with great power, changing the inner story you've always told so that you can build a vibration so that you can enter into a level of field and live the life of peace, abundance, and joy. Back to you, Dr. Tony.
Tichet, that is so true. When we talk about the power to heal, because I was thinking while you were talking, I was wondering, trying to get into the minds of the attractive thinkers and visionaries around the world and see what they're thinking while listening to this message. Some thoughts might be power. Why would it take power to heal? One of the things that came to my mind was truth. It takes power to sit yourself down and confront your truth and figure out what your truth is. It takes power to do that because that's not common. Because think about how many people you come into contact with in the course of a day know their truth, know who they are, know why they are, know what they're doing and where they're going, or, have that kind of clarity about themselves. And that's why, we always talk about how important it is to sit with yourself, to be alone, to pull back for a certain season and just spend that time with yourself, getting to know yourself and your truths. When we talk about the power to heal, you might say, well, Dr. Toni, I haven't been through anything traumatic in my life or haven't had anything that I needed to heal from. What about limiting beliefs?
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize, they don't view that as something that they need to heal from,
Yeah.
a limiting belief. If there's a belief that is limiting us to Shep from reaching our goals, healing has to take place. Mind renewal has to take place. A transformation somewhere needs to take place in order for a more empowered belief to replace the limiting belief, because it's that empowered belief that's going to knock the door down and give you access to the thing that you desire, versus the limiting belief that's holding you back and keeping you from it. And it takes power to acknowledge that, number one, that I have a limiting belief. Because, Tichet, when people don't acknowledge that they have limiting beliefs, they justify them with excuses.
Yes.
They'll justify a limiting belief with an excuse that they believe is a real reason as to why they aren't accomplishing or doing what they want to do with their lives, whatever that might be. So it takes power, real power, to acknowledge that, hey, you know what? I could have a limiting belief in this area. And I need to, instead of going out this weekend, I need to really sit with myself and get clarity on that. I need to really find out what is holding me back, or what is causing me to procrastinate, or what makes me believe that I can't have what I really want. What makes me believe that I can't be an author or write the book or launch the business idea? You're walking around now, attractive thinker and visionaries that are listening to this message. This might resonate with you on a very deeper level. You're walking around with a lot of ideas and full of dreams and goals, and you share them often, but you struggle to manifest them. It's going to take power for you to cross over from constantly talking about them and dreaming about them to actually having them in your hand, to living them, to experiencing the dream versus talking about the dream. There's some healing that has to take place, because there are some, I always say that beliefs are either bricks that pave paths and carve paths, or blocks that build walls that keep us from our dreams. So I always say to Shet, when I'm in my coaching sessions, we start out with beliefs. And that's why it's so important for attractive thinkers and visionaries to get your copy of the Attractive Thinker Experience on Amazon, because there's a whole section in there that I talk about beliefs. And I believe that beliefs are bricks. They are blocks. Think about a block. When we were children, we played with ABC blocks. When you're out in your yard or you're traveling along the way, you see people building landscapes and things, or building homes. They're using bricks. So think about that for a moment. Bricks are either what we use to pave or carve paths, or they build walls. So they are beliefs, meaning you carve an entire path one belief at a time. And if you keep believing in that same direction, you will have carved a whole pathway, a whole an entire area that gives you access to something. You're paving and carving a path to something. You're not just sitting around here believing things and it's not leading you to somewhere. So these beliefs are blocks, they're bricks that either carve paths or build walls. And if it's going to carve a path, it's going to give you access to what you're believing. If it's going to build a wall, then it's going to keep you from what you really desire. That the beliefs that build walls are faulty beliefs, because people think, oh, I have this wall up, and because I've experienced this and that and the other, and I'm not going to experience this and that and the other again, not fully understanding that the same wall that you built to keep things out is the same wall that's keeping you in.
Mhm. Mhm.
I hope you caught that, attractive thinker and
Mm.
visionary. I hope you caught that. Write that down in your attractive thinker notebook and dive deeper in that after this message, because there's a whole lot to unpack right there. The same
Mhm.
wall that you built to protect yourself and keep negative experiences out is that very same wall that is keeping you from reaching your goals. So you don't have to look far. You don't have to wander like, I wonder what's keeping me from reaching my goals. It's the wall that you built to keep other people out, to keep other things out, to keep other experiences out. It's that same wall. So if you sit down and begin to dissect this area, this wall, what wall did I build because of an experience that I don't want to have anymore? What wall did I build to protect myself? So you take that same wall and you begin to break it down brick by brick. brick by brick, one brick at a time. You don't knock it the whole wall down at once. One brick at a time. And you might say, well, what do you mean one brick at a time, Dr. Toni? How do I dismantle this wall? You think about what belief you had that built it. What did you, it was something you had to believe that caused you to believe that this belief was going to provide a barrier for you, that this belief was going to protect you, that this belief was going to shield you from another heartbreak happening again. What was that thing that you chose to believe that you think is protecting you? Because it's that same belief that is keeping you from reaching your goals, from reaching your highest potential, like Tichet said. You don't have to look far to find out what's holding you back. What are you believing? Sit down and dissect your beliefs. Ask yourself, in this particular area, what is my belief? What do I really believe about this? That's why I'm so excited. Attractive thinkers and visual encouragers. I'm glad and I celebrate you for investing in yourself and getting your copy of the Attractive Thinker book, because it is a game changer. It's a life transforming experience. It's not a one read. It is a reference. It is a guide, because you're going to need this on your healing journey, on your transformational journey, when reaching your goals. These are the mental tools that you can't get anywhere else, all in one place. I've gone to several conferences. I've been on planes. I spent thousands of dollars. I've stayed in hotels. I've been on trains and shuttles and cars and had to walk for blocks to get to leadership conferences, entrepreneurial conferences, mindset conferences. And there, I could never find everything in one place. Either they're giving you the strategy and not giving you the mindset, or they're giving you the tools and you don't have the coach, you don't know how to implement it, or they're giving you these CDs and workbooks and you have a bag with your bottle of water, your chips, and your mint. But when you go back to the room, who is going to help you unravel the wall that you built to protect yourself? And that same wall that you built unknowingly, that's keeping you from implementing what's in the conference bag. Where's those people are going home. When that stage, when that event is over, they clear out that stage. Those speakers get back on their planes and they go back to where they came from. You're going home with you.
Mm, mm,
And there's no one there to help you with you but you.
mm-hmm,
And that's why it takes power. You know why it takes power to heal? Because number one, in order for you to set aside the time to sit with yourself, you're going to have to break through the routine, break through the thing that you want to do instead of sitting with yourself. Because that thing that you want to do is the thing that you used to do and that you're used to doing and that you've been doing and that you're comfortable with doing. Think about it. We all do. When we're out and about and we're ready to go home, and we could be driving home or flying home or whatever, we just can't wait to get home. Why? Because we can't wait. We keep reminiscing about that thing that we do that makes us comfortable, that helps us relax. I can't wait to get home to get in my hot tub. I can't wait. If you've been on the road for a while and you've been in hotels all over the place, you can't wait to get home to get in your own bed. I can't wait to get home to get in my own bed. I can't wait to get home to eat my own food. I can't wait to get home to get in my favorite rocking chair and just cuddle up with my favorite blanket. There are, and listen, if that's the case, in which it is for a lot of us, we all have our favorites and things that we're comfortable with and things that soothe us and make us feel comfortable and at home. In order to heal, it's going to take power, because you're going to have to break those routines. It's not common for people to come home and say, I'm going to set aside some time for me to heal. Before I go to bed, I'm going to set aside an hour or two, do some healing work before I go to sleep. That's not common. So you have to break routines. And in order to break anything, it's going to take force and you're going to need power to do that. And you know why you need power, to shed? Because after you decide to go on this healing journey and break through this conditioning and these faulty beliefs and things like that, who's there to celebrate you for what you just accomplished? It takes power to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm proud of you, when
mm,
when you don't have an audience, no cheerleaders, The music isn't playing. Nobody's bringing you to the stage to celebrate you and give you whatever. It takes power to look yourself in the mirror and say, you did good. You did good. I can't tell you how many times I've had to look in the mirror and encourage my own self and say, you're doing a great job, Toni. It takes power to look yourself. It takes power to look yourself in your own eyes, to look in the mirror and look into your eyes. It takes power to do that because that's very confronting. Have you ever experienced being around people and you're talking and they have a problem looking you in your eye? If people have a problem looking at other people in their eye, you know they have a problem looking at themselves in their own eyes. It's because it's very confronting. When you look at yourself in the mirror in your own eyes, you see your endlessness. You see
Mhm.
divinity. You see divinity. You see your power. You see your potential. You see who you really are. And that can be scary because the mask is gone,
Mhm.
the makeup is gone, the outfit is gone, the jewelry is gone. And when you look into your eyes into nothingness, a sea of nothingness, that can be very intimidating. And it takes power to do it. But I guarantee you, when we embrace the power to heal, to shed, we unlock unknown worlds. We give ourselves access to unknown discoveries about our own selves. Because on this healing journey, when you open yourself up, sometimes you know the things, the areas that you would like to dive into to begin the healing process. But you also have to be open to areas of healing that will be revealed to you that you haven't even considered. That you haven't even considered. I can't tell you how many times I would go to the store for one thing, had my mind set on one thing, and found something else better. Something I hadn't even considered that was better for me to shed than what I thought was good for me. These are the things that you're going to discover when you embrace the power to heal. Because I guarantee you, the very thing that you think is holding you back, it's not that at all. It's not that at all. And the truth about it will only be revealed when you embrace the power to heal. And again, you might say, well, healing from what? Faulty beliefs. We talked about that. Limiting beliefs. We talked about that. Conditioning. You can't possibly. I mean, after listening to these messages for so long, you can't possibly think that everything that you believe is just coming from you. That it wasn't from your childhood. That it wasn't from a preacher or a leader or a teacher, somebody over authority, exposing you to that over and over and over and over again, or even TV or movies or music. You can't possibly think that all of the beliefs that you have right now are all yours. Some of them came from somewhere without your permission. Some of them you began to believe, not really believing it for yourself. It wasn't something that you chose to believe. It could have been something that was imposed upon you, forced upon you to believe. It could have been something that you were exposed to at such a young age that you didn't have a choice but to believe it because that's all you were exposed to. That's all you knew. So it's very rewarding to give yourself an opportunity. And I say to give yourself an opportunity because it's possible to live an entire life and never take the time to get to know who you are. Never take the time to get to know why you are, why you roll the way you roll, why you say what you say, why you feel the way you feel. I know that to be true because I've had clients, who've expressed that. They say, Dr. Toni, prior to these coaching sessions with you, I've never had anybody to ask me the kind of questions that you ask me. They make me think questions that I haven't even taken the time to have answers for. And that's the rewarding part of the coaching process because you begin to discover things about yourself that you not only just never knew, but things about yourself that you can use and enhance going forward to help you reach your goals in life. Some of the other things that we need to we need to heal from when we talk about the power to heal to share is negative thinking. And sometimes people will say they'll think externally and say, well, we need to heal from judging other people. But I want to flip that for a minute, because the most powerful thing that we could do when it comes down to judging is begin to stop judging ourselves. When it comes down to judging, that's the most powerful thing you can do. You've encountered, we all have encountered people throughout our lives that say, oh, you're judging me, when you were just trying to help them or give them information to help them reach their goal, or to help them feel better or make their lives better. And the truth that you shared, they called it judging. I'm sure we all have experienced that. I know I have. But instead of um, using the power to heal, to so that you're no longer judging others, I think that that power could be best used when we stop judging ourselves, when we're more loving and kind to ourselves. And it takes power to do that. I'm going to tell you right now, it takes a lot of power to begin to give yourself what you've been giving away for free to others. It takes power to do that, because we have to, you have to see yourself as valuable in order to pour into yourself, in order to give yourself attention. Think about it. People who aren't important to you, you don't give them your attention. Things that aren't important to you, if you're scrolling through your emails, you're looking for the important emails. You're not looking for the emails that aren't important. You don't give them your attention. If you're online, you're looking for the important information that you're looking for, with all of the other things blinking on the both sides of the screen and other things flashing at you and people sending you stuff. You don't give that your attention because you're looking for the important things. And it's the same thing with accessing the power to heal. You're looking for the important areas of your life. And what I mean by that is, of course, every area of your life is important, but you're looking for the areas that are the game changers, the areas that are the drive, that is the driving force behind what you do and why you do it, who you hang out with and where you go and how you reach your goals or how you put them off. You're looking for those things. You're looking for areas that are going to get results. And that's why it takes power to heal, because we're not talking about healing anything external. We're talking about healing internally. And when you heal internally, it changes everything externally. Back to you, Tichet.
You build a life through a series of yeses and nos, right? And so when you're building your life, you're saying yes to things because of conditioning, because of limited beliefs, and things like that. You're saying no to things because you don't understand, because you don't know, you're afraid of what's out there. So, sometimes it takes us to become self-aware. We have to have the power aware in order for us to know who we are, why we are, so that we can make different decisions. Life is a cycle, right? And so everything keeps happening over and over again. If you look at the course of your life, you can see, nine times out of 10, you can see that you've had the same situations happen over and over and over again. Same conversations. You go to talk to somebody who is like you, and they have the same conversation. They can almost going on in your life word for word because they've had the same thing. Life is a cycle. The thing that we have to understand is we need to be open and flexible to knowing that there's more that we don't know than there is that we know. There's more that we don't know, meaning there's a whole world out there that we don't know, and we're just limiting ourselves to the world that we do know, when the world that we don't know is the one that has the answer.
Mm,
As we go on our healing journey, the power to heal, we have to increase our awareness. Not only increase the awareness of other people, but more importantly, the self awareness. When you talk, Dr. Tony, about celebrating yourself, um, that celebrating yourself does take power because we're used to getting celebration from outside sources.
mm-hmm,
It's hard for us to look at us and all our that we're powerful. It's hard for us to look at everything that we feel like we're limited in and say, oh, we can go above that. It's hard to do that. It takes courage
mm-hmm,
to Test out your true potential so that you can go over the wall that we have been building up over, limited belief. So you can look at your story and see the repetitiveness of everything, right? So as we are going through life, and we're looking at the origins of our belief, and we're looking at the decisions that we make, and we're looking at all that we desire to do. And sometimes we look at it and we look at it with a limited eye and think that we can't do those things, right? Because of what our past said. But this is why I said you got to work on your inner story,
Yeah.
right? When you look at the cycle, in order to create something different, you're going to have to make different decisions. You're going to have to create a new habit, a new way of believing. You're going to have to step outside of your limiting belief, right? And the way to get to the bottom of your limited belief, Dr. Toni, you said this earlier, you have to figure out where it came from. You got to get to the origin of where that belief come from. And that's again part of being self-aware. You look into yourself like, why do I believe this? Why? Let me tell you something, when you do that truth seeking, soul searching work, and you start looking into the origins of everything, it changes
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
Because you can say to yourself, I don't even like this. Why
Mhm.
this every day? Why is this in my home and I don't even like this? I like this because somebody said it looked good on me. I don't even like this. Just like when you got to go through your clothes, sometimes you go through your clothes and you like, why would I wear that? Why
Mhm.
would I allow myself to wear something that does not complement my figure and who I am as a person, and risk going out there and not having that confidence, and you
Mhm.
slouching and you're like, I don't want to be seen, because you don't feel confident in your clothes. So we have to shift our life to boost confidence too. It's not wrong to have confidence, to have confidence building skills. It is not wrong. I feel like some people think when you have confidence, you're self-centered, and they throw the word narcissism, but narcissism has so much more to deal with ego and the things like that than you being proud of yourself, you having
Mhm.
compassion for yourself, you soul searching and becoming self-aware. That's not narcissism, that's self-care,
Yeah.
right? And the reason why is so that you can create a life where you can operate out of your fullness without judgment on yourself, like Dr. Toni said. And let's talk about that judgment for yourself for a second, right? We are our biggest critics,
Mhm.
own biggest critics. Some people don't even have to beat you up the way you beat yourself up at night. Overthinking. You sitting there, you overthinking, oh, I shouldn't have said this, I shouldn't have did that. In third grade, I embarrassed myself, and you almost want to hide
Yeah.
under the covers for something you did in third grade.
Mhm.
Them people ain't even thinking about you. And half the people you are embarrassed about ain't even thinking about what you got going on or what you did. You're holding on to that. So when it comes to having compassion for ourselves, it does take power. It does take work, like we said, with the shovel going into the hard ground. You got to go into that hardness of your heart and have compassion, and release the compassion and the grace that you give to everybody else. And like you said, Dr. Toni, it's not easy.
Mhm.
It's not easy, again, because we are our biggest critic and we know our mistakes and our limitations, and you know what I mean. All right, so for
Yeah.
instance, right, when God called Moses to speak, all he gave him was his limitations. Lord, surely you mean anybody else.
Mhm.
Surely you mean anybody else. Lord, you don't mean me. I can't even talk. I can't talk. You know what I mean? And he's stuttering and he can't think to see himself as a powerful leader. But the highest self, the spirit of all knowing living God, knows your potential, right? And he wanted to see if he had the ability to step out of his limited belief and the limitations he was used to in his life, like stuttering, step out and willing to be a leader. And then things were provided while he was on the way, right? And so we all have a power within us. We have gifts, we have talents, we have anointings, we have different power that's within us, but we have to be willing to forgive our faults, not look at all of our yeses and nos that didn't end up well. We have to look beyond what
anybody else in our sight has ever done or didn't do. And we have to be willing to trailblaze and pathfind in order for us to access our full potential. We have to go past all of that and allow ourselves the ability to see what we're really made of.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, to look ourselves in the eye. And to look yourself in the eye and say, I'm proud of you, is hard for some people because some people have not forgiven their last mistake.
Mm.
So imagine if a child came to you not knowing everything you know and said, hey, I made this mistake. I joined a club that I should not have joined, and it's not good, and I want to get out. Why would you look at that child and say, and judge them first and foremost? Because they don't know what you know, but you're going to judge them and say, how dare you make such a mistake?
Mm.
And call them all kinds of stupid and things like that. And then you look at that child and you say all that stuff. If you saw somebody doing that, you would be like, they must be out of their mind sitting there talking to that child like that. You're somebody's child. So why would it be good enough to say to you? Why would you call yourself dumb or stupid? Why would you say you're not smart, or you're not wise, or you weren't? Why would you hold yourself to something you wouldn't hold somebody else's child to? You're somebody's baby somewhere. You know what I mean? And so we have to have that same compassion, because you have to believe that attractive thinkers and visionaries, again, this message is not for everybody. Attractive thinkers and visionaries
Mm-hmm.
who are on the healing journey, you have to believe that out of your heart, you did the best that you could with what you knew at the time. You did the best that you could with what you knew at the time. Had you known different, you would have done different,
Mm-hmm.
right? But at that time, you didn't know different. And that's okay, because it got you to this point of self searching, soul searching, seeking, and truth seeking. It got you to this point. So, this is why we say, don't just go through it, use it. That's our last week's episode. If you missed that, go back and watch that, because we teach you how to take everything you have went through in your past and use it for the greater good, for your purpose. We are purpose driven people,
Yes.
right? We can't just sit there and stay stale, stuck, and stagnant and think our minds is not going to ridicule us in the process, right? Because you know how they say an idle mind is a devil's playground. When you got too much time on your hands and you're not doing soul searching and seeking. See, you can have a lot of time on your hands and not do soul searching and seeking. You sitting there, all you do is watch TV, all you do is on an Instagram. Every time you get a bit of silence, you got somebody else's voice playing. So you never get a chance to hear yourself think. You never get the chance to hear the voices that's within when you sit aside yourself and you're afraid to be alone, because there's so many things that might come up that you might think about. So you try to fill that with other people's voice and opinions and things like that. But when you're on a truth seeking journey, a healing journey, that time alone is not idle. That time alone is when you're doing the work that matters the most. That time alone is when you're starting to um, get expose all the soreness and the tenderness that you got going on in order to seek the healing so that you can live a life of heal. All of that is necessary. It might look like at that time that you are idle, but you're not idle. You're doing the work that matters the most. Did it ever occur to you that throughout your life, we're so used to working on the outside and getting things done and da 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 da, right? And you're busybody worker bee. I know I was a worker bee, right? I love to work. I love to go out there and give my 100% and do this and get the job done. What's the task? I'm going to get it done, right? But
Yep.
when it came to me, I wasn't like that. When it came to me, I slept on myself,
Mm.
right? I sat there and I said, well, I'll do it tomorrow and I'll do it tomorrow. And it's going to be hard and this, that, and the other. But you know what happened? Life happened so hard that I had to, it showed me the courage I had. I had to have a desire so much to get out of suffering that I had to take the power in order to get myself to a place of heal, in order so I could live in that state of healed. We don't always have to be on a healing journey. A healing journey is a temporary part of the journey. There is a place called heal where you'll be able to enjoy the fact you'll be able to enjoy your story. You'll be able to enjoy all you had to go through, overcome, while enjoying the fruits of your labor. You'll be able to enjoy the smile on your face and the desires that you have. You'll be able to turn thoughts into things and start creating a reality that you're comfortable with. Nobody wants to live in a home where they're not comfortable, where it doesn't mirror themselves, right? Where you're in a home and everything looks like an opinion of everybody else. Nobody wants that. We want to create a home that mirrors us everywhere we turn. And in order to do that, you're going to have to have a habit of change. You're going to have a habit of power, a habit of moving forward, a habit of, exposing what's underneath so that you can be power driven and not situation driven. Because some of us, we're driven by situation. We say, oh, the rent is due, so let me work, the rent is due. When is it time to love? When is it time to have peace? When is it time to have joy? When is it time to enjoy for the reason that you came into this human experience? When is it time? Because the work out there is never done. Soon as you're done with that one work, something else got to be done. That work is never done. You always find something else to do. So when is the time for you to heal? You have to take the power and the courage to take that time. Nobody is going to give you your healing. You have to take it. That's something you have to do for yourself. Nobody is going to come in and give you all the peace and everything that you want. You have to create that for yourself. And then what happens is, as you go on a journey of peace and love and joy and abundance, you start being exposed to people who have your best interest at heart. You start being exposed to people who want you to be peaceful too, people who don't have hidden agendas. You start being exposed to people who support you being your full potential as you go forward. But it starts with you. Loving yourself starts with you. You can't even remotely tell somebody how to love you if you don't love you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's necessary for you to love you. It's not selfishness. Self-care is necessary. Because if you understand who you are, why you are, and what you are, you can operate on your full potential. You can operate in the power that you know you have within you and give out and give the best results to anybody that's attached to you or who wants to receive it. Because remember, we're not giving out, we not casting our pearls on swine. We're not doing that. We're not giving to ground that's not open and fertilized to receive what we have to offer. We're not wasting time, money, or energy. We're not wasting any of it. We got a whole life to live. Why waste it? Why waste your human experience away because of limited beliefs that you don't even know where it came from, or because we can't see past our limitations, or because somebody hurt us in the last relationship. So in this relationship, I got so many walls up, I can't even receive the love that I'm dying to have. And it's like you have to allow yourself the flexibility to be open and forgiving. But it starts with you. How can you love people if you haven't learned to love you? How can you extend it? And the thing about that with relationships, Dr. Toni, and that's any relationship, romantic relationship, business relationship, any relationship, right? Friend relationship, any relationship you have, you're going to have to express how you want to be loved, right? And the reason why I say that, now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to sit here and be teaching people how to have the bare minimum respect. Like that stuff, you should come with at least the ability to have some respect. You should know that I'm a woman and should be treated as such, but don't limit me to just a woman, right? So because I'm a different type of woman, I have to let the people in my space know this is what I require. This is how I desire to be loved. How will I know that if I never spend time with myself? How do you teach people how to love you when you say you're not like every other woman? So you expect people to come in and to be able to love you like they love everybody else, but you're not like everybody else. You have a difference. So you have to be able to express that. I don't like this. I don't want to go here. I do love this. Try to do this. You have to be able to express how you want to be loved if you're different than everybody else. Now, if you're okay with being like everybody else and you're average, then go ahead and take the person that know how to treat the average woman. But if you're a visionary or attractive thinker and you are different from the rest, you're going to have to know how you love yourself so you can express it to the one that loves you so he don't have to go through guessing games.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody want to guess that you might like this or you might not like this. Get to know yourself and then let them get to know you so they're not giving you gifts that don't suit you.
Mm. Mm.
You know what I mean? Because people will go and give you a McDonald's toy and be like, "Does like it? Is it good?" And you're like, no. You don't want, and then you're like, I don't want to seem ungrateful or anything like that. So you accept it, and then they take it as, oh, it's accepted. She like that, and give you more McDonald's toys. No, at some point, you got to know when to speak up, though. So when somebody gives you something you don't want to just be like a slap in the face and say, oh, ugh, I don't want that. You don't want to say that. But what you can do is you can say, hey, I like a little more. Da, da. You say, thank you. I appreciate your gesture. Da, 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 da. And then as you go along, that's not my thing, but what I would love is this, that, and the other. That's more of my speed. But thank you for the gesture. Because again, gratitude will get you indoors. Gratitude open doors, right? Gratitude leaves you with a high vibrational energy,
Mm.
right? Because you're grateful for everything you went through, so you end up getting more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. When you have children or anybody in your space and you give them something and they don't have gratitude, you don't want to give them nothing else.
Mm.
You're not grateful for that, no. And then you don't want to give them nothing else. So you have to have gratitude, especially when with yourself and with people. But it's necessary for you to know who you are so that when people give you something, you really can express that gratitude with genuine with a genuine energy, right? You're not just faking it like, oh, thank you. And then you like throw it over your shoulder. You don't want to do that.
That's so true.
So it's necessary for self-care. And then you don't want to work in areas that doesn't fit who you are. A lot of us got talent. Some of us got some anointing on us. And sometimes that anointing is not exposed until we get in a place of pressure where it exposes it.
Yes.
Right. And now all of a sudden you got the power to speak because your life
Mm.
has exposed your anointing to speak. Right. And we have different gifts and talents. And so we don't want we we don't want to work in areas that's not for us. Now, there's people like me that are multi-talented. No matter what you touch, you're going to do it good. Why? Because you put your heart in everything. So
Yeah.
every time you touch something, it tends to work. But just because you can don't mean you should, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let's say you're good at hair. Uh, that doesn't mean you have to be a hairdresser. Now, don't get me wrong. I can do some hair. I will, right? And there's people out here who are anointed to do hair and they love it and that's where they thrive. But if I don't love it, why would I continue doing it and getting in the way of taking up space for people who love to do it? And I'll do it just because it brings in money or just because I'm good at it. No, you want to work in your area of expertise, your area of passion. You want to work in an area that fuels you. You want to do work that increases power in you, that makes
Mm-hmm.
you want to get up in the morning, that makes you have a hard time going to bed at night because it's like you don't want to stop. You want to work in those areas. If you're going to be a worker bee, work in passion,
Mm.
work in love. Say no to doing stuff just because, if you can. Say yes to doing things because the power that is within you, that is anointed for you to do it. If you sing with anointing, sing. If you don't dance, don't dance. Nobody says you have to do anything that you're doing. But what I would say you would have to do is live.
Mm.
That's the one thing I would say we have to do is live. And that's as visionaries and attractive thinkers, we have to live because purpose calls us to live. It doesn't call us to suppress ourselves, to be oppressed and depressed and suppressed. It doesn't call for us. It calls us to be able to move forward, knocking down all those walls.
Mm.
of limitations
Yeah.
and unforgiveness. We got knocked down all those walls. You name that, brick by brick. And you knock them down, you'll start seeing the light of day. And you might feel like, okay, well, if the wall is knocked down, then am I vulnerable to pray? No, because when you start knocking down those walls, there's something that builds up in you called discernment. There's something that builds up in you that will protect you.
Mm.
There's something in your spirit that will say, don't go over there with them. And you don't have to have a wall. You're just not putting yourself in positions to receive people who are willing to do evil things. You're not putting yourself in those places. So it's you want to be open because you want to be receptive, but you got to be receptive of the right thing. Just because the wall is knocked down does not mean you are open to receiving everything. You have to demand to respect my space. Everybody cannot come in and just take over where they want in your life, in your space, and in your store. You don't do that with your house, even though your door is open.
Mm-hmm.
You might sit there with your door open, your screen door, especially when it's warm outside. You don't let anybody to come just walk in your house because your screen door open. No, it's still your space. You have to respect your mind, your spirit, your body, your life, your time, your energy. You have to respect all of that and then demand that same respect from other people. But again, it starts with you. So you have to take on the power to heal. You have to have that courage to the power to heal. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
That is so true, to Shet. And while you were talking about that, I was thinking to myself, number one, what needs to be in place is you have to realize, once you realize that you are all that you have and you are fantastic and amazing and you are great, you have to realize these things first. Once you realize that, you will anticipate and embrace the power to heal. Tisha, tell our audience how they can get in touch with you, the visual encourager.
Absolutely. You can find me on my website at www.visualencouragement.com. We're providing mental support for movers and shakers, for trailblazers, pathfinders, and groundbreakers. All you visionaries who desire to move mountains but need help lifting the heaviness so that you can create a new vision for yourself. Go to my power wall, enjoy my blog, go to my contact us page, put in your information, let me know how I can uplift you, enlighten you, and encourage you so that you can live a life of fulfillment in the healed beyond the break. Again, that's www.visualencouragement.com. See you soon.
Awesome. Attractive thinkers and visual encouragers, I trust that this message has deeply resonated with you. I want to encourage you to review your notes that you captured that you've captured in your attractive thinker notebook, along with the gems and the jewels from this rich message, and take the time, set aside the time. It might be a few minutes today or a few minutes tomorrow, or maybe a couple of hours this weekend. Just promise yourself that you're going to set aside the time to get to know you, time to enter into this healing stage, time to dismantle your beliefs, to find out what beliefs are supporting your goals and what beliefs are keeping you away from your goals. Visit our website, theattractivethinker.guru. Grab your freebies there. Get on our email list. If this message is something that you want to hear again, along with all of the other messages on our YouTube channel, subscribe. Beyond the Break 2020. Click the like button on this message and share it, because if it's moving you and it's empowering you and it changed the course of your day, it will do the same for others. There are attractive thinkers who are looking for this message, visionaries around the world who are looking for messages like this, just like you were. And we're here to support you in living your life beyond the break. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your identity coach and get to the root specialist at theattractivethinker.guru, where we support new and aspiring entrepreneurs with mental healing, mental strength, and mindset maintenance. You're going to need these resources. Grab your Attractive Thinker book on Amazon. You're going to need it. Turn to page 443 to reinforce this message that you heard today. You're going to get some nice little golden nuggets there that you may not have captured during this message. Page 443 in the Attractive Thinker book. You always hear us say, our life's work, that's to make your life better. Remember, it is not what you're going through. It's how you're doing it. Think attractively. We'll see you soon.